Angi with News OK. I'm here with Brandy McDonnell, who is an entertainment writer for the Oklahoman, and you're writing a story about a couple of Oklahoma entertainers, being Rodney Carrington and Toby Keith, and they've written and starred in the movie Beer for My Horses. Tell us what this movie's all about.
Well, it's an action. It's kind of a comedy action, kind of country comedy action movie. Rodney Carrington, who's from Tulsa, and Toby Keith, who grew up in Moore and lives in Norman.
Yeah.
They star as two small-town Oklahoma deputies named Rack and Lonnie, and Lonnie is the kind of the likable comic relief, played by Carrington, and Rack is the kind of the tough guy, the macho guy with kind of a sense of humor. He's played by Toby Keith, and they get kind of sucked into this adventure. They're these small-town Oklahoma deputies, and at one point in the movie, Rack's girlfriend Annie gets kidnapped by a vengeful drug lord and taken off to Mexico, and they defy the orders of their sheriff, who's played by Tom Skerritt, and go to Mexico to try and rescue her. Wow. And so it's kind of like a funny road trip movie, kind of a buddy cop kind of movie, and a lot of humor in it, a lot of action.
Nice. So, how did the project come together?
Well, it's interesting. Beer for My Horses was actually a hit song for Toby Keith back in 2003. It was a duet with Willie Nelson, and it was like 6 weeks at #1. It was a huge song, and they starred in a really popular music video together as father and son lawmen. And in 2006, Toby Keith made his featured film debut acting in the family drama. It was called Broken Bridges. And he decided after he was in that movie that he would try screenwriting.
Nice.
And so he was very inspired by movies like Smokey and the Bandit and Cannonball Run, but then also like the TV show Andy Griffith, and he kind of wanted to do one of these sort of road romp kind of movies. And so he stepped away from that idea of the father and son lawman that was in the music video and came up with something that was completely different, a little more along the humor lines. And but he said he built it all around the toast that's in the song. Is whiskey for my men and beer for my horses. And we have an audio clip of him talking a little bit about what the toast means.
Great, let's listen to it.
So it's about the posse riding out old school, getting the bad guy, coming back, salute the guys that made it, salute the guys that didn't make it back, and then even saluting the steed that they rode on, that got them out there and back.
And that was Toby Keith talking about Beer for My Horses. Now tell us about how Rodney Carrington got involved.
Well, he and Toby Keith have been friends for about 10 years, and once Toby had an outline of the story, what he wanted to do, the characters that he had in mind for it, he contacted Rodney Carrington and asked him if he'd like to collaborate on the script with him to kind of help him flesh out the characters, to put some humor into it, to work on some dialogue. Of course, Rodney Carrington had his own TV show for 2 years on ABC, and so he had a lot of experience writing the scripts for that. So he brought him in to help him with that. And from what Rodney tells me, it was a really collaborative process, a really fun process, and we have an audio clip of him talking about them working together.
Great, let's listen to it.
That was what my main objective was to the whole process, was just saying, hey, this has got to be, you got to make sure this fits in the story. You got to make sure this tracks with the story, and because Toby'd have an idea about something. Well, I like this. This is what I think about this, and I'd say, well, here's how let's see, how can we make that work? And I mean, it was just a real collaborative putting it together, and we'd be in his office, and we'd be pretty much acting out a scene, just me and him talking about it and laughing and cutting up. And we'd go, yeah, let's write that down.
And that was Rodney Carrington talking about Beer for My Horses. All right, so tell us about the filming of the movie. It's obviously set in Oklahoma, but I guess there's something to that. It's not necessarily in Oklahoma, actually produced in Oklahoma. And then who else is involved?
Well, it took them 10 months to write the screenplay for it, and then 2 months of filming. It was actually filmed in Santa Fe, New Mexico, even though the story itself is set in Oklahoma. And Toby Keith, who's a producer on the film, said that it was purely a business decision, that it was based on the tax benefits and the resources that they could find in New Mexico.
Gotcha.
That he wanted to film it here, but it made more business sense to do it in New Mexico.
Okay.
But interesting, there's a lot of names involved in the movie. There's veteran actors like Tom Skerritt and Barry Corbin, but then there's an awful lot of people who are in the music industry. They're involved. Ted Nugent actually has a rather large part.
Nice.
And then also there's a lot of cameos from people like Mel Tillis and David Allen Coe. And then, of course, Willie Nelson has a role. He's not playing Toby's father like he does in the video, but he's got a completely different part in the movie that's pretty pivotal. So a lot of different faces that you can pick out in the movie as you
How
watch.
fun. A lot of cameos.
Yes, a lot of cameos.
That is great.
So.
Well, for more on Brandy's story, check out Friday's Weekend Look in the Oklahoman. It's August 8th, and also on newsok.com. Thanks so much.
Thanks.